Do you need this, Mrs. Kemp?
Smilla's Sense of Snow is a terrible movie title with an even worse movie poster. At first glance, it looks like one of those brooding meditations on mortality with Pachelbel's canon droning over the soundtrack, so it's no wonder that filmgoers avoided this film upon its release in 1997. What they missed was a compelling mystery and thriller about the unusual events surrounding the tragic death of a child. The movie unfolds like a great detective story, as our heroine, Smilla Jasperson, uncovers clue after clue while shadowy figures attempt to thwart her at every turn. For the first 90 minutes, this is some clever, well-paced filmmaking. Then the film gets weird. To grasp how disjointed this film is, let us go back to the beginning. After an unnerving teaser that foreshadows the weirdness to come, Smilla's Sense of Snow settles into its A storyline. Smilla Jasperson, played by Julia Ormond, is a researcher of Inuit origin living in Copenhagen. One evening, she arrives at her apartment complex to discover that 6-year-old Esaias, son of her neighbor downstairs, has fallen to his death from the roof of the building. All evidence points to this being an accident, but Smilla suspects otherwise. She knows the boy, you see. Knows that he is afraid of heights, and there is something unsettling about the pattern of his tracks in the snow on the roof. Consequently, Smilla turns into Nancy Drew, digging for clues and pestering the authorities for answers. Along for the ride is Gabriel Byrne as a nameless mechanic who lives in the same building and eventually becomes Smilla's lover. For 3/4 of the movie, we are swept up in this mystery. I hesitate to reveal more because to do so would rob the viewer of some of the joy of watching the puzzle pieces fall into place. But then it hit me. Why should I worry about ruining the movie? The movie manages to ruin itself. Somewhere between the 75 and 90-minute mark, the tone of Smilla's Sense of Snow turns goofy, the story morphing from a well-paced murder mystery into an incomprehensible homage to James Bond. There's even a Bond villain played by Richard Harris, looking a bit worse for wear since the beating he took from Gene Hackman in Unforgiven. By the time Smilla confronts the bad guy on a sea of floating ice chunks, it's like we've turned off the first movie and started watching another. You want to talk about personality disorders? And to top it all off, this cool murder mystery turned weak sauce James Bond flick is called Smilla's Sense of Snow. Remember that title? The title that sounds like a tedious reflection on love and loss penned by Ron Bass after the death of his pet hamster? I can't say I would recommend Smilla's Sense of Snow, but I wouldn't discourage it either. As a film, it's something of an anomaly. The kind of silly sleight of hand that plays well after 5 beers. I wonder how many guys got dragged to this movie by their dates on the chick flick title alone, only to bear witness to a movie that tries to sell itself out as a guy movie. You don't see too many flicks like this in America, at least not English language with a heavy hitter like 20th Century Fox handling distribution. So if anything, Smilla's Sense of Snow is unique in that regard. If you're curious, check it out. If not, there are plenty of better films out there more worthy of your time. Make sure you dress warmly.
All right, we've seen what you can do with a boy. How are you when they come a little bigger?